So if you're using SMART goals or tiny habits or atomic habits to make your New Year's resolutions, then you probably failed already. And so we really want to talk about why SMART goals and tiny habits are really killing your chances of keeping your New Year's resolutions. So I'm here with Dr. Deborah Teplow, our co-founder at Stamina Lab. Deborah, how do you think this SMART goals and tiny habits ability is killing your chances of keeping your New Year's resolutions?
Oh, I love that question. I love this topic. I want to start with a quote from the French author, aviator, and poet, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He says, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people together to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. And I think that really sums it up.
The tasks and the work are the SMART goals and tiny habits.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes. And this comes around to our previous discussions about goals versus outcomes. So it's not that tiny habits and SMART goals kill your chance of keeping your New Year's resolutions. It only kills your chance of keeping your New Year's resolutions when you start with tiny habits and SMART goals. And that is something that's really crucial to understand, that the New Year's resolutions are about change. It's a change process. If you start the process with the strategy and the tactics without knowing where you actually want to end up and the difference that destination or that outcome will make and the meaning it will have for you in your life, then you've blown it there. So that's one thing.
And so when I think about this too, is like, it's easy to set up these SMART goals and easy to set up these tiny habits. That's why you do them. And it's measurable, so you can know whether you succeeded in this. But what are you succeeding at is the question that I think then why motivation, the motivation or the fresh start effect that you have with the new year dwindles, because you don't have this this picture of what you want to do in the future, what you want to be.
Absolutely. It's who do you want to be in the world? How do you want to see yourself when you look back? This is like big picture thinking. You have to have the big picture first before you get down to the tiny details. If you start, so let's use that as an example. When you take the big picture, and then and you don't, if you don't start with the big picture and you only start with the tiny details, then your whole frame of reference is tiny details. And so what you've done is you've constrained your thinking, you've constrained your aspirations, and you're not giving yourself really a chance for those dreams to evolve and to develop. And dreams do evolve and develop over time. And so you're really constraining what's possible. You're reducing
what your dream is to this year might not be your dream next year, or you're a different person. I mean, by the fact of there's constant change, you're constantly a different, somewhat a different, looking at the world through a different lens.
Absolutely.
Our brains are prediction machines, so we are predicting based on our past. And so that's that constraint doesn't allow for that change that's happening to you.
Right. And so I think that it can be helpful for people to think of their New Year's resolutions. There are two parts of it. Is who do I resolve to be? Well, how do I resolve to be in this world, to live in this world? What are the values that I resolve to embody and to express in my life? That's about outcomes and our identity. Those SMART goals and the tiny habits or tiny atomic habits are how we get to those outcomes. So one is, what are our goals? Our New Year's resolutions, are they only goals? What can I achieve? What can I check off the list? Or do I recognize that the result of having achieved those things will produce what I want in the end, the person I want to be? Will it get me closer to my dream?
So when you're writing your New Year's resolutions or your things, yes, I want to eat less sugar, and I'm going to when I shop at the grocery store, I'm going to shop for things that have less sugar in that. But so I write that down, but I also want to write, well, what difference is that going to make for me? What else that difference is going to make for me? So I have that, and maybe your New Year's resolutions, some people do too many of them. Maybe you just have that, one, and you really drill down deeply on, what difference it's going to make.
Yeah, and that's interesting that that you mentioned that, because if you drill down, you say, okay, I know I eat too much sugar, got to cut down the sugar. So that's my resolution, cut down the sugar. Okay, and what difference will that make? Well, I'll be healthier. Okay, and what difference will that make? Well, I'll live longer. And what difference will that make? I'll be able to be with my family, love them. I mean, usually it gets down to connection, happiness. And then you can kind of circle back and say, okay, and then put yourself in that context. And so when I am happier, what am I doing that supports that kind of happiness? Well, I'd probably be eating more vegetables. Oh, I'd probably be watching screens less and working out more, or, hanging out with my friends more, whatever. And then we expand all of those, the view of all the tactics, or that repertoire of tactics that's going to get us to the outcome. And then we can reevaluate. Okay, so where does sugar, and sugar is really a struggle for me, by the way, sugar is a struggle.
Well,
So
everybody.
where does that all pile up? If I want to, be living an active life, connecting with family and friends as much as I can, doing, serving, my community, whatever way, and I need to be healthy for that. Eating, cutting down on my sugar is important, but that's really hard. But I realized, I could eat more vegetables. I actually like vegetables. I just have, I realized I could probably be eating them more, or I could be going for walks or whatever. And it opens up the world of possibility in terms of strategy. It doesn't mean you don't use SMART goals or tiny habits, but it's where you apply that tactic, or that tool.
Yeah, yeah. This, it opens up like you said, it opens up the possibility of those tactics. Your tiny habits could be, you could be so many more tiny habits, because you're saying it's not just doing this, eat more vegetables. It's, all these different things that can help with the with this, basically you're trying to, reduce the insulin spikes and the sugar and inflammation that come into your body. So there's many different ways to do it, and it really lends itself to the experimenter's mindset. That so that way, yes, you have this tiny habit that you're going to do for the new year, and it's not working out. Well, that's okay. Now you're still trying to get to what difference is it going to make. So I have more of an experimenter's mindset. I have more possibilities to choose from, and that, I think, that takes away the failure of a New Year's resolution, and more allows the experimenter's mindset to say, oh, how do I get to the same difference it's going to make in my life?
Yeah. And I think when you talk about the experimenter's mindset, we're talking about the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And I think that's one of the things that when we only look at the tactics, we start with, cut out sugar or whatever, tiny habits to cut out sugar, sparkles, whatever. We haven't changed our story about ourselves. We haven't changed our stories about ourselves. We still think, I'm a procrastinator, I'm a this or a that. But when we think about what difference will it make, what meaning will it have in my life, how will I be changed, who will I become? Then I said, well, I'll become a healthy person. And what will I, as a healthy person, be doing? What will I tell myself? And so then our labels and our how we see ourselves shifts. And then again, looking back is, who am I as that healthy person, and what am I doing? So again, if you start with the tiny habits and haven't, looked at the stories, you may be, you don't have control of your story, but when you think about what difference will it make, what meaning will it have, who will I be, then you have more control of your story because you set the stage, or you set the kind of the context.
Yeah, in our recent we recently did a quest on keeping your New Year's resolutions, a change mastery quest. And one thing that resonated with our clients that they really wanted to understand more about, is when you project yourself into this future and you're identifying you are noticing what you're doing, what other people notice about you. That really resonated with people. This is your preferred, what difference it will make, what this preferred future was. And then you talked about, and how to go back to the actual tactics or what you're going to do, that tiny habit, or that what you're going to be noticing you're going to do in the next 24 hours. That really resonated a lot. I wonder if you could explain that. I did a little bit, but you did such a good job of talking about it.
Yeah, I like it's the brick wall analogy. So often, and I hope left, right, it's reversed on the screen. But anyway, so what happens is we say, okay, well, I want to be healthier, but how can I be healthier, and what do I have to do? So the brick wall are the barriers or the effort we have to go through to get here. Let's say this is our dream. We want to live an active life, doing as much with our families, our community, giving to others, to ourselves, whatever. That's over here. This is our dream. Here's where we're at now. And so what happens is with our starting out with tiny habits or SMART goals or whatever for New Year's resolution, we think, okay, what can I do? What do I have to do? But then we run into, naturally, we have a negativity bias. I can't do that because, I'm too lazy, or it's too hard, or all the various costs of change. This brick wall is the costs of change. It's effort. It's, mental, physical effort. It's different than I've been doing, whatever. And we bang up against that. And
wall's the cost of change. I think that's really,
yeah, I haven't thought of that before. So thank you for this. Yeah, I think of it as a brick wall, but that's the cost of change. What we can do using our solution focused practice, which is what we've done in our quest, is to say, as we just take that wall away, we jump over the wall and say, okay, so imagine that you are living that healthy life. And that you are being active and making the connections and contributions that you want to be. What's the first thing you notice that would tell you you're living that kind of life you want? And now I've triggered my imagination. I've circumvented the negativity bias, which consumes me. It's like, I can't do it because I'm already over here in my preferred future. What would I be doing? Well, first thing I'd notice is I'd get up in the morning and I'd be smiling. Oh, okay. And what else? And so, well, I'd walk into the kitchen, and when I'm that person that's active and healthy, I'd already have put out fruit in the morning for myself instead of the Danish. And you walk through your day in as that person, and then you say, okay. And suppose I were gonna, what's the first thing I'd see myself doing in the next 24 hours that would tell me I'm on this path? Let's see. Well, I could do that. I could, in the evening, I could put out a bowl of fruit so that in the morning when I wake up on that morning when I'm my best version of, the best version of myself, I already have fruit right there. Or I'd put out ingredients for my smoothie, I'd wash the dishes, tiny habits. I'd wash the dishes, and then I'd put out my blender so I could blend my green smoothie in the morning. There's so many different things you can do. It just opens up the world of possibilities. Does that answer the question a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think that the wall is the cost of change. And by kind of putting yourself over the wall, you're opening up the range of possibilities that you can do to create, to come up with these ideas for your tiny habits and your SMART goals that you can implement in the next 24 hours in the littlest, even the smallest way.
Yeah, and I think also when you do that, instead of what can I do, you'll put yourself here. And what would you notice that would tell you, even in the next 24 hours, that you're actually moving in the direction of change that you want? Then you open it up, not only what can I do, but, well, who would be in my life that would notice me changing? And what role would they be playing? Oh, well, my partner likes XYZ. They like to walk in the morning. Maybe they'd ask me to go on a walk in the morning. That would even get me, I'd be walking with my partner in the morning. And then I'd start thinking, well, what else would tell me that I'm in the direction of change? Well, one thing that's really like draws me down energy wise is my house is a mess. I would be stacking up my books, or I'd be throwing my newspapers in the recycling. Now, we're not only talking about giving up sugar, we're discovering environmental factors that affect us and could contribute to our movement towards who we want to be. We're talking about social factors. So we've expanded, very profoundly all of the options that we consider when we take that view of who am I when I am that best version of myself. What am I doing? All the things I'm doing. What's my environment that's supporting me? Who are supporting me? And then we can go back and say, here's what I'd be doing. And just by going through in mental imagery, we've already lived our preferred future. And in fact, the question, what would I be doing when I am, let's say, a winner, is the exact question that all top performers use and use that mental rehearsal. So the Michael Phelps or the Simone Biles or whatever, they're not saying, oh, what can I do? What should I do? They're putting themselves in the state of being that winner, of being the greatest of all time, and then acting through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, really visualizing that preferred future is the key to keeping your New Year's resolutions, and then working, and then going back to these tactical things, because you've already embodied that future, and our brains are predicting our prediction machine, so that we don't know the past, present, or future. By going in the future, we've already visualized that, and that's how top performers are able to achieve their goals.
Always, yeah. And the first thing, they wake up in the morning and they know, I'm a top performer. What do I eat in the morning when I am, the greatest in the world? What am I eating? It isn't a question. Of course, I don't eat sugar. I eat fruit instead, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds like a fantastic place for us to wrap up. If you want to learn more about our unique solution-focused approach, even our quest that we do, I talked about our Change Mastery quest for New Year's resolutions, and book a complimentary coaching session, visit staminalab.io. That's staminalab.io. And if you found this video useful, be sure to like and subscribe for more. Thank you, Dr. Teplow.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone for listening. Until next time, remember, you are your own lab, you are your own experiment, and you are your own best coach.